Jungkook didn't speak. Not when he saw the name Minho on Taehyung's screen. Not when Taehyung noticed his stare. Not when he stood up and quietly left the room. The air between them turned brittle, like glass that had already cracked but refused to shatter. Jungkook, wait, but the door had already closed behind him. Taehyung stared at the missed call. Just one. A single name that shouldn't matter anymore, but still did. Because Minho was a part of his past. A complicated one. A relationship he never wanted to revisit, except he never told Jungkook the full story. He had planned to. Eventually. But eventually always comes too late. Jungkook didn't answer his texts. Didn't return his calls. Didn't even show up to his usual cafe spot where Taehyung waited every afternoon like a fool with cold coffee and shaking hands. Taehyung finally gave up after 4 days. No. He didn't give up. He showed up. At Jungkook's door. Hair a mess. Hoodie soaked in sweat. Eyes tired. And when Jungkook opened the door, surprised, still in the oversized tee Taehyung loved, Taehyung didn't waste a second. I don't love him. Jungkook's brows knit together. What Minho? Taehyung exhaled. He's not. It's not what you think. Jungkook leaned against the door frame, arms crossed. Then explain it. Taehyung swallowed. He called because his mom passed away. She loved me, and he thought I should know. That's it. I didn't answer. I didn't plan to. I just didn't delete his contact, because I forgot. Silence. Heavy. Jungkook looked away, biting his lip. You could have told me, he whispered. I was going to. Taehyung's voice cracked. But I've been so scared of doing one thing wrong and losing you again. You didn't lose me, didn't I? Jungkook sighed, stepping aside. Taehyung followed him in. Slowly. Like testing if this was still safe. They sat on the edge of the bed. The same bed where they used to lay inches apart, too afraid to close the distance. But this time, Taehyung reached first. He grabbed Jungkook's hand. Do you still not trust me? Jungkook looked down at their joint fingers. I'm trying. Then let me make it easier, Taehyung said quietly. Let me prove to you that I'm not running. That I won't leave just because the past knocks again. He took out his phone. Found the contact. Minho, delete contact. One tap. Gone. Then he looked up. I'm not holding on to anyone but you. Jungkook closed his eyes. Let out a long breath he didn't know he was holding. Then leaned forward, pressing his forehead against Taehyung's. I'm scared too, he whispered. I know, Taehyung whispered back. But I'm here. Their lips met. Not in desperation, but in quiet, aching understanding. Later, tangled in sheets and soft apologies, Jungkook finally asked, why did you fall for me, even after I used you to get over him? Taehyung smiled faintly, brushing his fingers over Jungkook's cheek. Because even when you were broken, you still held my hand like I was the only one who could put you back together. Taehyung woke up before the sun. Jungkook was still asleep beside him, lashes brushing his cheeks, one arm draped possessively around Taehyung's waist. His grip was tight even in sleep, like if he let go, Taehyung would vanish. Taehyung didn't move. Didn't want to. Not when, for the first time in so long, he felt chosen. Not because he was convenient. Not because someone else was unavailable. But because Jungkook wanted him. Or maybe, Taehyung hoped. Jungkook loved him. Later that day, Jungkook surprised him. They were walking through a quiet street near the bookstore they both loved. fingers brushing but not quite interlaced, until Jungkook stopped, turned, and tugged Taehyung's hand into his. Taehyung blinked. "You're holding your hand?" Jungkook smirked slightly. "Yeah. I want to, in public and real life," Jungkook said. "Because this," he squeezed Taehyung's hand, "is real now, right?" Taehyung's breath caught. He looked at their entwined fingers like it was a miracle. Like he never thought Jungkook would actually choose him this way, not in shadows, not behind closed doors. And when he nodded, Jungkook smiled in the shy, boyish way Taehyung secretly adored. That evening, they had dinner with Yoongi and Jimin. Yoongi raised an eyebrow when he saw them walk in holding hands. Jimin outright squealed. "You're together," Jimin gushed, tugging Taehyung into a hug. Taehyung flushed. "I guess, yeah. We are?" Jungkook nodded, his hand not once leaving Taehyung's. "We are?" Yoongi narrowed his eyes at Jungkook. "You heard him again, and I'll rearrange your face with a guitar. Fair?" Jungkook deadpanned. Taehyung laughed. God, it felt good to laugh. They had wine, shared stories, and for the first time in a long time, Taehyung felt like he belonged. No pretending. No wondering where he stood. Later that night, back in their apartment, they sat on the couch, feet tangled, a quiet song playing, city lights blinking outside the window. Jungkook was watching him. Not with lust. Not even desire. But something more dangerous. More terrifying. Tenderness. "Can I ask something?" Jungkook said, voice low. "Always. Why didn't you leave? When I treated you like just someone to forget him." Taehyung stared at him, then leaned in, brushed his fingers through Jungkook's hair. "Because you didn't just use me, Jungkook. You healed with me. And I saw the way you looked at me when you thought I wasn't watching. That wasn't about him." Jungkook's eyes welled up. "Not enough to fall, but enough to sting." "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I know," Taehyung said, pressing their foreheads together. They didn't sleep much that night. They didn't have to. They just held each other like the world could wait. Like for once, they were allowed to fall, without breaking. It had been 2 weeks since Jungkook and Taehyung officially began dating, out loud, in the open, without guilt or pretending. They started spending more nights together in Taehyung's apartment than Jungkook's, not because of convenience, but because Jungkook said it smelled like him. "I sleep better here," Jungkook murmured one night, arm around Taehyung, his breath brushing his neck. "Feels like home." Taehyung's heart clenched. He didn't say it, but Jungkook had become home to him, too. But no peace lasts forever. It started with a text from her. "Suayan." Taehyung saw the name flash across Jungkook's phone screen while they were making pancakes one lazy Sunday. The phone buzzed again, and again. He froze. Just for a second. Just enough for Jungkook to notice. "She texted," Jungkook admitted quietly, putting the phone down. "I saw," Taehyung replied, voice calm, though something burned low in his stomach. "She wants to meet. Said she has something to say." "Are you going?" Jungkook hesitated. "Do you want me to?" Taehyung stirred the batter too hard, splashing it slightly. He wasn't sure if it was jealousy or fear. Probably both. "I want you to be sure. Of me. Of us." "Then why do you need to see her?" "I don't." Jungkook stepped forward, gently taking the bowl from his hands. "But maybe I need to end something properly. Face to face. For closure." Taehyung didn't reply. Because a small part of him wondered, What if closure reopened something instead? Jungkook met Suae that evening at a quiet cafe. Taehyung stayed home, pretending to read, though every minute felt like an hour. What if she cried? What if she said she missed him? What if Jungkook still had feelings tucked away like folded paper in his back pocket? The door creaked open around 9 p.m. Taehyung looked up. Jungkook looked tired, but not sad, not conflicted. He walked straight over, dropped onto the couch beside him, and pulled Taehyung into his arms. She said she regrets everything, Jungkook mumbled against Taehyung's shoulder. She wanted to know if I'd ever felt anything for her again. Taehyung didn't speak, didn't breathe. And I told her no. That whatever I felt, it died when I met someone who taught me what real love looks like. Taehyung's throat closed. You, Taehyung finally exhaled. Jungkook, I think part of me had to hear it out loud to finally believe it. Do you believe it now? Jungkook pulled back, cupped Taehyung's face. I love you. Taehyung's world stilled. It wasn't whispered in the dark. Wasn't blurted in the middle of a fight. It was clear, steady, sincere. And somehow, it hurt, because he had waited for this for so long, and now it felt like it might crush him with how much he wanted to believe it. I love you, Jungkook said again, softer this time. And I'm not letting you doubt it anymore. Taehyung blinked, overwhelmed. Then kissed him. Because that's all he could do. Later that night, lying in bed together, Jungkook whispered against Taehyung's skin, you healed something in me no one else even saw was broken. Taehyung held him tighter. And for the first time, the ache of being someone's second choice started to fade, replaced by something warmer, brighter. Hope.